Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Frickin' what? I'm stealing your expensive game device because my child wants one. If I wasn't in shock first, I probably would start laughing at the sheer lunacy. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to our channel if you're new here and turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Stupid girls like me should be focused on finding a man, not on having fun. My cousin won tickets to a concert, but my aunt had to work and she couldn't go with my cousin. She didn't want my 14-year-old cousin to go alone, so she asked me to go with her. My aunt is the owner of a hair salon, so she promised to do my hair for the concert. When the day arrives, I go to her hair salon. My aunt asked if I could wait for her since she needed to run an errand. I said okay, since the concert was in 5 hours. I sat down and started to play some Pokemon X on my 3DS. My 3DS grabs the attention of a little kid, aka Little Crap. He sits right next to me and started asking all sorts of questions about the game. I'm used to little kids bothering me about 3DS, so I just give short answers. After an hour, I got bored and put my 3DS in my bag so I wouldn't lose it. The kid was annoyed and asked why did I put it away and that he wanted to see more of the game. I made an excuse about the battery running out, and I started looking at my phone in hopes the kid would go away. He eventually does. I'm scrolling through my Facebook when I feel somebody opening the zipper of my bag. It was entitled Mom. She took out my 3DS and gave it to Little Crap. I look at her and ask what the hell she was doing. She just looks at me like with this stupid smile and says, "I saw how happy little Timmy was watching you play that game, and he's been asking for one of these games for ages. I think he deserves it because it'd make his life happier." I'm in shock. Why would this lady just think I would hand over the 3DS I worked so hard to get to her annoying kid? Sorry, but I'm not going to give your kid my 3DS. I paid for it. Entitled Mom's face turned red with anger. She started screaming about making her kid sad and how he would be happier than me using it. "You're a grown woman. You don't need this stupid games. Stupid girls like you should be focusing on looking for a man and not playing with toys. You're just bothering my little Timmy. Now this is his now." Her screaming got the attention of everyone. Then she tried to make the other moms decide with her and make me look like the villain in hopes I would succumb to the pressure. But nobody was joining her. I got tired of her and her kid, so I tried to take my 3DS from the kid's hands. The kid hid my 3DS behind his back and bit my hand, so I pushed the little crap away. She screamed in horror. How dare I attack her kid? She screamed for someone to call an ambulance or the police to put me in jail for almost killing her son. At that point, my aunt got back and saw the commotion. Entitled Mom recognized her as the owner and asked to ban me and have me arrested. I explain everything to my aunt and she's angry. She saves my 3DS from Little Crap hands and tells the Entitled Mom to get out before she calls the police on her. Entitled Mom leaves, but not before snatching my glasses and stomping on them. Not to worry, I had backup glasses in my bag. After all that crap, I just wanted to forget about it, but I couldn't. My aunt told me how that lady has given her trouble in the past. She did the same, but with smaller children, and she was able to get away since they couldn't defend themselves. Entitled Mom was permanently banned from even looking at the salon. I still have some marks on my hand from Little Crap's teeth, but they're almost invisible. Moral of the story, if your kid wants a toy, it's your job as a parent to work hard and buy their toys. I have no words except the fact that she's a poor excuse for an adult and a mother. And our second story. On-street parking woes. This story is from a while back. I've since moved to a house with my own driveway, thank God. I used to live in an apartment complex that only had 2 driveway spots reserved for the tenants who lived there longest, and on-street parking, which I used. It was adjacent to the busiest laundromat in town and 2 doors down from a house with 7 or 8 college kids that all had their own cars and no driveway for those cars. It was always a battle for a parking spot. My building was on a corner that had about 6 feet of yellow curb where parking wasn't allowed, followed by about 14 or 15 feet of space before the driveway where parking was legal. I usually got one of the 2 spots in that area, but sometimes things got interesting. One night, I parked directly in front of the yellow curb in hopes that my girlfriend would be able to park in front of me later that night. Instead, one of the college kids parked there. Eventually, another college kid parked behind me in the illegal space. They both parked so close to me that it was nearly impossible to pull out. The following morning, when I finally noticed I was running late for work and didn't have time to go knock on their door and tell them to move their car, I ended up doing a 15-point turn, no exaggeration, to get out of that space. But I didn't want to let that be the end of it. I ended up calling the non-emergency line for the police station and told them about the car that was parked in the yellow curbed area. They slapped a ticket on his window. I wasn't there to see it, but my girlfriend told me that he eventually went out to his car and was swearing and yelling about the ticket. Sweet petty revenge. Oh, and that a-hole never parked there again. This was central Pennsylvania. They were all a bunch of rich kids from New Jersey. Every kid in that house had an extremely expensive car that their parents no doubt bought them. I couldn't stand them. And our next story. Dude and his girlfriend decide to go on a shopping spree with a stolen checkbook. This happened around 10 years ago while I was working in the electronics department at a big box retailer. This guy and his girlfriend, both around 18 or 19 years old, comes up to me and say they want to buy a few things, including a 50-inch TV, and were wondering if we took checks. The dude straight up hands me his checkbook, and without even needing to put a detective hat on, I could tell it was stolen. Both the routing number and the account number were lazily altered with a pen, and they'd crossed off the person's address at the top. I was not much older than either of them, so my first thought was they're trying to get me to go along with their scheme. Being that I don't know these people and have zero reason to help them with crime, I decide to play along. I let them know that we absolutely take checks as long as one of them has a valid ID. I excuse myself to the back, explaining I need to see if we have the TV they wanted in stock, and they should have a look around to see if there was anything else they wanted to buy while I checked. At the time, I had zero sympathy for these people. They were both dressed like their families were well off, the store was in one of the more wealthy suburbs, and the whole thing seemed like they felt so entitled they were just going to steal from someone to get whatever they wanted. I head to the back and immediately call an assistant manager and let them know what's going on. He says try and stall them for a few minutes, get them everything they want, and when they're ready to check out, make some excuse about needing to bring them up to the front registers. I bring the TV out on a cart and find they've decided I seem cool and was going to let them use a stolen check, so now they want a load of random crap, DVDs, surround system, etc. I spend something like 30 minutes with them going over the differences in all the console gaming systems, have them look at laptops, cameras, and all kinds of other junk. They're excited by all the stuff they're going to buy, and after filling a shopping cart, they're ready to check out. We get to the front checkout, and the assistant manager has put on a cashier's vest and is waiting at a closed checkout line for us. I steer us to his line, and he starts ringing everybody up. He gets to the total, which I think was somewhere in the $7,500 range. They write a check, and he asks for ID. The girlfriend hands over a license with a 50-year-old woman's picture on it, but with the same name as on the check. Without missing a beat, the assistant waves over 3 police officers who were standing at the entrance waiting for these 2 kids and arrests them. They were planning on grabbing them either way since they were reported as being in possession of stolen checks. Because of these 2, I spent the rest of the evening writing up a detailed itemization of everything they were trying to purchase for the police report. I never found out what happened to them, but I assume they were charged with a crime of some sort. They didn't seem to realize what was going on when I had someone else check them out, and were totally blindsided when the police came up to arrest them. I know I could have probably just told them we can't accept their check when they first came up to me, or maybe had a little chat with them about not committing crimes. Thinking back though, even if I declined their attempt to use a fraudulent check, they would have probably just tried the same thing somewhere else, or who knows whether this was actually the first time they tried it. I do feel a little bad helping them dig their own hole, but at the end of the day, I just don't think it's cool to go up to a stranger at their job and expect them to help you with crime. It's pretty effing rude. This is brilliant. Good job on the AM actually getting the police involved and not just telling them to get out of the store. And our last story. HOA has made a choice which affects my property value, except they're not my HOA. I own a home in a large subdivision which has smaller neighborhoods inside it. Each neighborhood is managed by their own HOA and property management company. My house abuts a retention pond on one side. It's part of the reason we bought, for the view and access to the pond. A week ago, I looked outside to see surveyors. Then right before Thanksgiving, a fencing company put up a 6-foot chain link fence all the way around the pond. The fence is now a few feet away from my 4-foot picket fence edging my property. I asked the HOA president of my neighborhood what he knew about it. He said it was the HOA of the neighborhood across the boulevard who made the decision, and he wasn't even consulted. Here are my issues. 1. According to my HOA president, this other HOA doesn't want people accessing the pond, hence the fence. However, this fence has not done that, as people can still access it, only now instead of standing in the street, they'll be trespassing in my neighbor's yard. 2. They fenced off the area in such a way that my property management company cannot mow the tiny strip they left between my property and the fence. 3. The most egregious is how they've significantly decreased my standard of living and decreased my property value by obstructing the view. I had considered sending a certified letter to their HOA, but I don't know if that'd help at all. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.